Alright, today we are going to react to more delisted video games you can't play anymore. So I'm pretty sure I've already watched the first one of this on my own time, but let's see, I want to show you guys Austin Eruption, since this is a guy that I'm not subscribed to, but I watch his videos pretty often because he covers some pretty good topics. His content is just always entertaining to me. Let's get right into the video. And just before we begin, so yeah, I have noticed within the past year a lot of games have been getting delisted, and I would really like to know which ones that I can't get anymore that are like modern. Everything from the 360, PS3 to the Xbox Series X and PS5 era. So I would really like to know which games I can't get anymore and the ones that I should treasure more. Because I did buy a couple of games when they were being delisted. Like I bought the Marvel's Avengers, and I'm trying to remember what else man, I can't remember exactly, but I know I have quite a few. So let's just see more games. Also, the one game that was delisted that I really wanted to play one day in my life was going to be Spec Ops The Line. And the developers, publishers, I don't know who delisted it, but they stealth took it off and delisted it as like, man, I hate you guys so much. You guys couldn't even give us at least a week, a month. Like, if something is given like a time frame before it's delisted, I think that's fair. But giving no one a time frame and just taking it off the store, like that fucking blows. So yeah, let's just check out these other games.
Are getting delisted at an alarming rate, and the last few years have been brutal. Digital stores made it really easy to pick up new releases, but with that has come a sharp decline in physical sales. Tons of games by big publishers aren't even getting proper prints anymore, so these things just
Hold,
disappear. Yeah.
hold on. I gotta see that. But yeah, I love physical media. If I can buy something, I'd rather take it in physical media than take it in like digital. So I'm always buying stuff for my Xbox or PlayStation more than the PC. The only reason I would buy it for the PC is like if it has more features technically, like it can be modded or something on the PC version. But I will always try to get the Xbox slash PlayStation physical version, and then maybe down the line I'll get the PC version of it. But I always want to be able to have the games like in my collection.
Tons of games by big publishers aren't even getting proper prints.
Let's see, Switch limited run. Like what? It's only a limited run? Why? Is this from Atlas? Like Atlas isn't even publishing it? Or Sega? Like shouldn't this be Sega's job? Oh, it's P3 portable. I was like, is this P3 like reloaded? I just noticed because of the female protagonist.
Anymore, so these things just disappear. You ever wake up and suddenly remember Capcom's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure got an
Jesus Christ. Like that's a game that I would have been interested in playing. I mean, I highly doubt I would have played it a lot because like I'm terrible at fighting games. It just would have been cool to play and have to be like I have a JoJo game from back before the anime even exploded.
HD port. Yeah, well, it's been gone for nearly a decade now, and soon the entire Xbox 360 marketplace is going with it. It's not just Nintendo, nearly a decade now, and soon the entire Xbox 360.
Yeah, I'm really gonna have to get on the Xbox and start buying exclusive games or stuff that's never gonna be available again. That is one of the games I forgot to say that I still have. Gotham City Imposters, and I think it's Guardians Battle for Middle Earth, and a bunch of the like Lord of the Rings games. Like those are all basically delisted, not being made new copies anymore, and I have a bunch of those.
Marketplace is going with it. It's not just Nintendo erasing entire storefronts anymore. Rest in peace, Stadia. This obviously sucks and is counterintuitive to gaming as a long-lasting medium. We've been here before even, with my last dive into the delisters, and unfortunately, it's only
Oh yeah. So those were some of the old games. Yeah, do actually have Army of Two. I'm pretty sure I have Dark Void because that was like a free game, and the Deadpool game was pretty good. Oh yeah, I also have the Transformers games. Like those are currently delisted, not being made more of, but I have both Cybertron, War for Cybertron, and Fall of Cybertron, so I have the good ones.
a long-lasting medium. We've been here before even, with my last dive into the delisters, and unfortunately, it's only gotten worse since then. Tons of online-only games from the early 8th generation are starting to shut down en masse. These days, when a multiplayer-only, free-to-play mobile release or games as a service hits the market, it's just a countdown to extinction in my eyes. F099, no matter how fun it is, just like Mario 35 and Pac-Man 99, we all know this is bound to get delisted and shut down at some point, and that's just a crappy way to feel. Most recently, Gundam Evolution, something that was 100% up my alley. One part
Yeah, that game was kind of fun. I kind of enjoyed it, although because it was on the PC, everyone had godly aim on this game. But it felt like a pretty good like Overwatch kind of clone, and all the Gundams were pretty unique.
Overwatch, another the most popular mecha franchise worldwide, Gundam Evolution didn't even make it a year before being announced as shutting down. It's not like it's bad. The visual and audio aesthetic is on point. The units have a lot of variety, and the less hardcore approach had me jonesing. We'll get more into it later, but the fact that they just released another unit in season and we're shutting down in less than a month is crazy. Of course it's Zeta. It's like they're calling me. Video games being taken away is still a new concept, a sad and unfortunate one at that, but it's becoming the norm, and that's just about the worst thing that can happen to gaming as a whole. So I've gone and compiled a whole second video on delisted video games that you can't play anymore, unless you've got the magical power.
Oh yeah, Evolve. Goddamn. That's a game that I actually really liked myself. I have Evolve for the Xbox One, but man, I really wish I would have gotten the PC version because for a limited time it became free on the PC, and man, that would have been good to get because like the PC version went from like a paid game to a free to play game. I want to see what the differences were for the free to play version of that.
Of the internet, emulation, or private fan servers. So if anyone out there is feeling like resurrecting Jump Force, be my guest.
Oh yeah, I also bought Jump Force, not because like of anything I've ever heard of it, but I'm like, I got that while I was buying like a bundle of games, and I was like, okay, Jump Force, let's keep that because that's getting delisted soon.
So yo, it's Austin, and today we're going to be diving once again into the world of delisted video games. Last time I somehow managed to willpower some old Metal Gear Solids back into existence, so maybe this time we can do it for Wolfenstein 2009. Yeah, probably not. We'd only scratched the surface previously, so this time I made sure to compile an even weirder list of video games that have been delisted, some of which you've probably not even heard of. It turns out it doesn't matter if you're as notorious as the Avengers. When the man comes knocking, you're getting shuttered. All that passion and years of hard work gone in an instant, or in some cases, safely out of people's reach. But before we get started, don't go hungry watching
Safely out of people's reach. Yeah, basically speaking about companies.
It feels weird to look at Crime Site, a multiplayer social deduction game that I bought on sale. A new IP by Konami, the masters of regularly releasing console video games with lots of advertising, and see that it was shut down and delisted before I even got the chance to launch it. Now, it just sits in my Steam library with 0.0.
0.0. Hold on, I just want to see. So it was released when?
And delisted before I even got the chance to launch it. Now, it just sits in my Steam.
April 24th, 2022. Two friends have crime site on their important termination. April 2022. So yeah, it was like shut off.
Steam library with 0.0 hours on record, and I'll just never know how this was supposed to play. Turns out, there's a decent amount of these. Killer Queen Black was a really cool thing that I was all about.
Yeah, oh my god, I was so surprised that this game got shut down. It's like this game was super popular in the arcades, and I'm pretty sure everyone wanted a actual arcade version. And so it's surprising to hear that this got shut down.
About in 2019 when it came out. In fact, you can still buy it, but only on the Nintendo Switch. If you've ever been to a big
Nintendo
convention or one of
Switch.
those lucky arcades, you might have seen Killer Queen. It's that large arcade cabinet
Yeah, I remember playing this. Oh my god, I played this at PAX West. Not PAX West, PAX South. Did you actually put money to play this thing? Because I remember it was like unlimited free tries. But did they actually make a version where you can put in coins to join or play? Because I don't know how that would work if you're just playing it solo. Because like does that make the AI team or something? Because that's kind of interesting, but also I don't think that'd be as fun as playing with how many people is that? 10 people?
that supports 10 players as you engage in a roided up version of Joust, my favorite classic quarter muncher. One person places the queen, everyone else are grunts, and you're trying to achieve one of 3 victory conditions. It's a good time. The sequel, Black, hit Switch and Steam with the intent of having a big online community, but due to Amazon acquiring and shutting down their online functionality provider, the developer was unable to make it work and ended up totally removing the thing from Steam and, funny enough, Discord. In fact, no mode here supports bots, so you end up only being able to play locally, which just isn't the same with only 4 people.
Hold on, wait, what?
Developer was unable to make it work and ended up totally removing the thing from Steam and, funny enough, Discord. In fact,
So Amazon shut down their online service, and so because of that, they couldn't figure out how to get a different online service for the game, and so they just delisted it everywhere.
no mode here supports bots, so you end up only being able to play locally, which just isn't the same.
It's only able to play locally. Interesting. So means you can probably set this up at, another convention, probably put another. Actually, can you play 5 controllers on a single console? I don't think you can. So means you can only go like 4 for a console, 4, and then you would have to somehow figure out how to get the queens on there.
Same with only 4 people. A really fun experience with nothing else really like it.
Oh, so
Delisted.
so means you can only play 4. So that's only a 2v2. So it means that one person has to be the queen. Yeah, so that means like 2 people have to be the queen, and then the other 2 have to be minions for the queen. Yeah, that does not sound that fun.
And gone too soon. Same thing with Harmonix's Fuser, a DJ rhythm mashup game that came out at literally the worst time possible, right when Twitch went hard on the DMCA claims. Streaming for exposure, not today. Fuser is a neat little thing that allowed you to mix
Streaming for exposure. Bad guy, born this way, pop star now, gonna give you up, Rick Ashley. Damn, that's some weird songs, but that kind of seems fun.
songs together to create mashups of different tracks, and you could make it weird. It just, unfortunately, like a lot of Harmonix's things, bombed hard, and I don't think it deserved that. Using a similar structure to song mashups as their fun board game, Drop Mix, Fuser saw Harmonix team up with MC-Soft and make something that didn't require a big plastic peripheral. There is a single-player story mode that has you trying to become the best festival DJ, and the gameplay is very minimal, but that's not why you get this. You picked up Fuser to see what LMFAO, Rage Against the Machine, and DMX sound like mashed up.
Shake that.
It's beautiful. Fuser is
That's actually a super cool concept. I wonder if you can like just do like 2 songs and then sometimes 3 or 4. Like I can see it goes up to 4, but yeah, sometimes just doing like a mix up of 2 songs. But yeah, this seems like it would be actually really cool to do. I have to see how the gameplay is. Hold on, we gotta see.
kind of a meme game and something that you goof around with, but that kind of novelty is one of a kind, and for
Oh, X gonna give it to you. Thrift shop. Okay. Call me maybe. Like, damn. They got a lot of songs that I like here. I wonder if you buy. Is this one of those games where you have to buy the songs? Or is that like in-game currency? Like, I don't know if those diamonds, the sunglasses, or the music notes are in-game.
For those seeking to make mashups ranging from good to absolutely cursed, there was really nothing better, besides, becoming an actual mashup DJ. But now it's been not just delisted, but had the server shut down shortly after Epic Games bought Harmonix, which seems to just be what they're doing these days. Thankfully, Fuser has a pretty active mod scene who are tossing all sorts of tracks into it with custom videos and stage editions, so if you want Megalovania, you can have yourself some Sans Undertale.
That's actually pretty funny, Sans Undertale. But okay, yeah, that's interesting. If you're able to ever actually like find a code for it, you can play like the PC version and mod. Yeah, I swear, it's like these games are so much better on the PC because you're able to mod in songs.
Also delisted for no reason, the PC version of Fable 3. Been that way for a hot minute too, ever since the downfall of Games for Windows Live. You can still play it on consoles, so this one barely counts, but as it stands, the Steam version is a no-go. Fable 3 is definitely not the best of the original trilogy. It's not going to be winning any awards for originality, but its co-op brought a lot to the table and made the world feel more involved. You could play big chunks with friends. Heck, you could get married to your friends in-game and then absolutely ruin the economy by buying up entire districts of cities. You just had to deal with one of the strangest decisions for a pause menu of all time, checking the inventory in your mind. A game design favorite. Honestly, I'm just bringing this up because I only have like 2 friends with Xboxes and it might as well not exist thanks to Games for Windows Live. Fable 3 was one of those games that made me really
It might as well not exist. Like, damn, just because people don't like Games for Windows Live, or I guess don't like the Xbox, it's like not even there. It's like you can have a 360, you can have a One and an Xbox Series X or Series S, or an Xbox One S. Is like there's 5 different consoles. He has to at least have a friend with one of those. Like either an Xbox 360 to play other old games, or at least an Xbox One who's like playing games because they prefer that. There has to be someone.
excited for the future of the series, but well, we all know where it went after this. Truly, Lionhead Studios' Joker moment.
Chicken chaser. Do you chase chickens?
Have you ever bought a game specifically because of the publisher name? I'm sure that's why a lot of people bought Codename Steam, and also why I picked up God Mode. Back then, if the words Atlas popped up, I was gonna get it.
God Mode is not an Atlas game, it was just published by them. It's actually a little 7th gen co-op shooter made by Saber Interactive and Old School Games, the people who brought us Time Shift, Halo Remastered, and WWE 2K Battlegrounds. An eclectic list for sure, but God Mode is one of their earlier releases, and it's something that I played a whole bunch of that might also kinda suck. I, like tons of others, fell into the Atlas hole because of your personas, Odin spheres, and insert Japanese RPG here, so the publisher brand meant something. I said to myself as copium while buying Operation Darkness. But God Mode was interesting because
Operation Darkness, I think that's one of the games that I saw on the Xbox that is probably gonna go away with the Xbox. I gotta see. God, I gotta check on the Xbox thing to make sure that doesn't go away too soon.
it was a digital-only release on the PC, PS3, and Xbox 360. The tail end of the 7th generation saw a bunch of cooperative shooters hit the stores, and God Mode was one of those. You play as a cadaver, and it's oops all dudes all the way into Hades as you blast enemies away until you can't anymore, with friends. God Mode is very simple, but sometimes you want that repetitive shooting action, like Dynasty Warriors, but with chain guns and psychotic clown makeup. Granted, there were a lot of games doing this exact same thing, even better now since this is a decade old, but for the time, I thought it was unique. It was pretty light on content, you can beat all the stages in like 2.5 hours, which is brisk. So it absolutely wants you to pump up the difficulty and run through with friends over and over, because XP is slow. You can use oaths as modifiers to make the challenges more interesting or difficult, aka spongy, and I almost feel like the more I talk about it, the worse it gets, but it's not awful. Especially considering this launched at $10, which was a steal. But let's be real, the reason a lot of people bought this back then, including me, was that Atlas logo. God Mode did stick around for a while though. Atlas kept it listed on all the stores till mid-2019 for reasons unknown to the public. Most likely a publishing deal or low player count. The weirdest thing about this is that the developer and the same exact janky engine were used for R.I.P.D. the game, you know, based off that Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges movie.
Honestly, the first time I saw this movie, I like thought it was gonna be Men in Black, but kind of supernatural instead of sci-fi. And like the trailers made it look pretty funny, but I don't think the movie was that good, if I remember it correctly.
You know the one. Well, that game came out a mere 3 months after God Mode. This, of course, was also published by Atlas. Atlas, you've made a movie game look amazing. Wait, Atlas is in charge of this game? Well, it can't be bad then. I hope they start focusing on Persona 5.
Of all of those, Fuser's definitely the one that deserved it the least. Poor harmonics versus getting a successful product that lasts on store shelves for a long time. Using licensed music is a surefire way to get your game taken off of store shelves after 3 to 4 years. It's the same thing with games based off of movies and TV shows. Licensed games. Who'd have thought we'd be talking about that?
Stranger Things 3, The Game. Coming out at the same time as the third season of the hit show I've never seen, The Game is a walk through the third season, but in a retro way that looks too advanced for the era the show's supposed to be in. This only stuck around for 2-ish years before it was pulled from PC and consoles for whatever reason.
Just being removed from.
This only stuck around for 2-ish years before it was pulled from PC.
But may soon appear on the Netflix gaming app.
And consoles for whatever reason. Considering Netflix is still pushing a gaming initiative in the future, we can only assume that was why. Even though it was revealed recently that only 1% of their subs even use the feature. Nice. Speaking of Netflix, how about Voltron? Old Voltron. Voltron, Defender of the Universe, or as it was known in Japan, Beast King Go Lion, was a staple of 80s cartoons. It was one of those things that I caught reruns of all the time, and you best believe it set me up to get used to the legions of color-coded hero troops that literally haven't stopped coming out. I like Ronin Warriors myself, and that's definitely not because it was the only thing on Toonami, so I had no other frame of reference. Well, Voltron Defender of the Universe got itself a PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 digital-only release published by THQ. And while it wasn't a VR game where you could look at your favorite ships in the first person, it was an incredibly average run-of-the-mill shooter that 9 out of 10 times had you moving the tiniest little robot lying around on the screen. There are lots of games that do this thing better, although thankfully, Dead by Daylight developers Behavior Interactive did a decent job of piling on the fan service. It definitely looked like old school Go Lion, just with that unmistakable 80s Americanized localization flair. This one disappeared around the same time as THQ, so you can probably assume what happened. If we're talking about legions of color-coded superheroes though, it is a shame.
He's talking about all the anime licensed games. Where it's like eventually they always disappear into the ether. Unless it's Dragon Ball or One Piece. Yeah, unless it's Dragon Ball or One Piece, it's disappearing into ether. I was like, Bleach is like, nah, I'm pretty sure the games for Bleach have all disappeared as well.
That Saint Seiya never made a full splash in North America. Saint Seiya is one of the most popular long-running franchises in Japan. It's got a huge audience in Latin America and Europe. If you're American, you might know it as Knights of the Zodiac, an 80s anime that finally made its way to the States in the early 2000s by Deke. Which of course means it's got an intro done by Bowling for Soup. By the time this was airing with its heavy cuts and censorship, I was watching Cowboy Bebop and Tenchi Muyo, and suddenly this cartoony version of Saint Seiya was uncool. Yeah, I'd rather watch Pilot Candidate, and that show sucked. North America missed out on Saint Seiya for the most part, and then suddenly in the mid-2010s, Bandai Namco would release 2 games, Brave Soldiers and Soldier Soul, that actually would get localized. Soldier Soul was like the Third Strike version of Brave Soldiers. This thing had a ton of characters. They were both developed by Dimps, who were behind your Dragon Ball Xenoverses, so you pretty much know exactly what to expect from this. 3D arena fighting with lots of cutscenes and a whole lot of jank, just of the Saint Seiya variety. Well, reviews weren't stellar, and I don't even remember this thing coming out over here. And that's because it was digital only. It's actually got physical copies in Japan and Europe, but they did not give a single frick about this thing popping out in the States. So the only way to get it over here was, well, you don't. Bandai Namco delisted it everywhere but Japan in 2021, so you'll have to do a lot of legwork to—
What? They delisted it everywhere but Japan? Like, what? I thought you would want to get rid of it everywhere. But I guess it's like a place where it's pretty popular. They're like, okay, if people still want to buy it here, it's okay to buy it here. Like, I would think those rights, like, whenever they sign over or whatever to, like, publish the game, that it would be international. But I guess they made separate deals for it only in Japan.
give this a shot. Yo, where my Saint Seiya fans at? Is it any good? Keeping on the train of wildly popular anime, One Piece. I actually know this one. My partner won't stop talking about it. One Piece has had several video games going all the way back to the Game Boy Color, and we've actually gotten a good bulk of them localized. But when it comes to being delisted, for some reason, the 3DS RPG Romance Dawn was taken off several years prior to the eShop shutting down. Bandai Namco's published a vast majority of everything One Piece related, but there's a handful of games they've taken down to the license expiring. I don't know how they've got all of these up, but unfortunately, the 3DS RPG is only playable through absurdly expensive US copies. Or emulation. It's what Ace would have wanted.
Fun time's over. It's now pizza time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's actually a handful of delisted TMNT games out there, and last time we tackled Reshelled, the remake of Turtles in Time, and this time I wanted to go a bit deeper, you know.
Yeah, he's gonna go into I'm trying to remember exactly what they are, but I'm pretty sure that Platinum one and then the one that came out with the 3D animated movie. And is there any other one? Maybe the Nickelodeon Kids one? I don't know if that one was delisted, but at least the other two were.
Worse. Except I didn't play it this time. I actually made one of my editors do it because I was having fun on my honeymoon in Japan. What? It's gotta get done.
According to Joshi, the digital exclusive Activision-published Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows is not based off the Michael Bay film, although that's not going to stop it from having some of the ugliest turtles in the franchise. It's like Batman Arkham, but worse, with goons capable of gooning and turning on the finest of dimes. Sure, you can swap between turtles on the fly, but combat is so stiff and nearly unresponsive. If you want to build a combo and do a fancy KO move, you need 10 hits, make sure not to miss after sending one launching, because that'll just end it. Somehow, the PlayStation 3 version was delayed 8 months to fix bugs, but the end result is still what you see on the screen. Quote, I kept nodding off during the recording. Stealth mechanics, in fact, exist, and the voiceover's all over the place. Donnie does not shut up.
Welcome to the stack. Welcome to the stack. Welcome to the stack. Welcome to the stack.
It's got local and online co-op, the latter of which doesn't work anymore, and you'd have to pay someone to play this with you due to how crappy it feels. I think that this would be the worst Turtles game if not for the other one from the same year, but with Metacritic scores like these, tomato, tomato. The Activision era of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles truly was the worst. Also, Austin, f you. Anyways, Out of the Shadows here is a huge dumpster fire, that's the worst. Also, Austin, f you.
So wait, I don't understand. So did he let his editor play on his account that has it, or wait, I sent over on the forums, let me know when everything's good. Gonna hit, hopefully the TMNT didn't corrupt this time. Or was his editor one of the people to buy the game before it was delisted, and so that's why he has it?
Anyways, Out of the Shadows here is a huge dumpster fire that got delisted alongside everything else in 2017 due to Activision abandoning licensed video games, so that makes sense. But earlier this year, on May 17th, I guess someone flicked a switch that caused only Out of the Shadows to get relisted on Steam, and you were able to buy
Delisted TMNT game briefly reappears on Steam. Damn, it's literally just a switch. Or, like, I guess a little piece of code. I feel like probably a ninja or somebody at like Activision like got into their system, turned it on for like just a second just so they could buy it, and then I don't know, the Activision ninjas came in and stopped him or something. Like, I wonder how long it was. Like, if it was like just for an hour, then it had to be just enough time for him to buy it. If like it was for longer than a day, then I would say he probably turned it on to hopefully get people to buy the game. But yeah, that was in 2017. Or no, wait, that was on 2023. Okay.
buy it. But it was taken down very quickly, refunds were issued, and they took the game back. Gotta avoid, you know, getting sued into oblivion, I guess.
Shell shock.
Well, that sure was a stinker. But in the era of digital-only licensed video games, there sure are a lot of them. And a lot of them suck. There is a huge bounty to pick from, now including one of my worst of 2021, Popeye.
Yes, the game everyone was clamoring for, picking up hearts from the sky while
Oh yeah, I've seen plenty of videos on this. Terrible, terrible game.
listening to stock piratey music, collect letters, and yeet Pete out of existence. Developer Sebek sure created a classic, one that got taken down everywhere in 2023 due to the license expiring. I honestly thought it would have been sooner, but hey, at least you can still play their latest, Pet Rock. There was also that one Power Rangers game, no, not Battle for the Grid, an actual decent fighter. I'm talking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Mega Battle. A beat 'em up so bad I could barely last 5 minutes. You know,
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I saw the Angry Joe show play this game. Or they played a bunch of these games, actually.
Megazords and how like cool they are. What if we make all their fights QTEs? There are worse beat 'em ups for sure, but in 2017, after we've had countless classics, this should have been way cooler. It's interesting to put this right next to Shredder's Revenge and see just how much love that had in comparison. At least the developer is still around and making other licensed games like Nickelodeon Kart Racers and Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you're looking for the quintessential
Wait, what is that? Game Mill?
like
literally
Nickelodeon
making
Kart
it?
Racers and Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you're looking for the quintessential awful licensed game based off a kid's cartoon though, we've got a flip sides from Nickelodeon to Cartoon Network. Thankfully there's nothing fanboy and chum chum related for me to tear into. Instead, we've got Powerpuff Girls Defenders of Townsville. Check out this riveting gameplay. Defenders of Townsville feels like a riveting gameplay. Boy and chum chum related for me to tear into. Instead, we've got
So it's using I forget exactly what that special was, but Powerpuff Girls. I'm trying to remember what was it.
Powerpuff Girls Defend.
If this is the actual like game cover, it's using one of the TV specials like style for the game, but it's using the original show style for the box art, which is super weird.
Defenders of Townsville. Check out this riveting gameplay. Defenders of Townsville feels like a Flash game you would have played on the Cartoon Network website, kinda like one of those old Toonami things. Imagine going home and booting up old crunchy Flash games like Dragon Ball Z Mission to Namek, except you have to pay $10 for it. Defenders of Townsville is baby's first Metroidvania. I mean, they literally get Metroided by Mojo Jojo right out of the gate, and you gotta spend time going through this massive stage without any personality in order to get them back. The menus are awful, probably because this was a port.
Hold on, I don't understand why does it keep changing styles? I don't know if he's showing like older games or if like they actually do this where you're able to play in the original style or this like TV special style for that one episode.
To this massive stage without any personality in order to get them back. The menus are awful, probably because this was a port of a mobile title. You've got the option to switch between the classic look or the dance pants art, but it all looks pretty
dance
bad.
pants. That's what it's called. And it's like, damn, that's so conflicting of a style. It's like, I don't know. The original style looks so terrible in this game.
The whole thing only takes an hour to get through, all the while you're having to deal with loud noises anytime you press a button. Yeah, that doesn't get old immediately. At the very least, Bubbles gets herself a Kamehameha. I mean, look, this is a kid's game, but it should have been a free Flash Kids game and not something you pay for. Delisted a year after release.
A single year is pretty quick for something that's not even online, but I think we need to pick up the pace a bit. I don't want to hear anything about licenses expiring or IP holders. I want simply pure unadulterated ass. Thankfully, Afro Samurai 2 obliges.
Ass. Oh my god, Afro Samurai.
It is truly noble to place one's life beneath that of your cause.
That's what I'm talking about. It is hard to understand what happened here. Developed and published by totally different people, Afro Samurai 2 Revenge of Kuma. This went from being announced to delisted in a matter of 6 months. Heck, it was barely purchasable for a month before disappearing. Afro Samurai 2 was one of the lowest reviewed games in the year it came out. It made a splash with how terrible it was and was immediately the punching bag of the week. I don't think the first one's exceptional or anything, but it's at least playable and has a followable story and combat system. Afro 2 feels like a fever dream dragging you between segments that barely make any sense while presenting absolutely no challenge. The dialogue is poorly acted and offensive. The technical issues are on another realm of existence, and it's just unclear what's going on at any time. Some button presses register, most don't, and the high-style, memorable cutscenes of the original are replaced with boring stills. It also literally ends with Kuma getting impaled, hard cutting to be continued, and then glitching its way back to the title screen. How'd this get past any testing? Short and sweet, Afro Samurai 2 Revenge of Kuma is really bad, and the publisher went on the book saying this game was a failure. We could not in good conscience do the sequels. Sorry.
The game was a failure and we could not just do volume 2 and volume 3, so we began process. It's been a long to come because Sony never really had this in this way, but we're returning all the money, so across the board we're putting out an apology saying sorry about this. Yeah, they should just retcon 2 and then actually remake 2, or like just fuse them all into one game, make it a somewhat decent game. But it's gonna be sad if they actually like close down the studio, and so they'll never be able to complete this story.
About this, and that was that. They even went and issued refunds. That rarely happens in video games. Afro Samurai 2 was released in late September and delisted late October, meaning this thing was in and out the door in a month's time, which has to be a record. I don't really have much else to say about this, but it is strangely appropriate that the developer's name was Redacted Studios. Truly a poetic moment.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Speaking of games pulled off of store shelves with speed, we gotta talk about Nintendo again. I'm sorry, I'd totally forgotten last time that Mario 35 was only around for 6 months.
I'm not really sure why, but Nintendo seems to be the enemy of, like, good decisions regarding their consumers. There's smaller things like the Super Mario 3D World Collection being time limited, the Wii U store just shut down, and now they're gonna be disabling online support for that and the 3DS. And then literally, as I'm writing this video, they decide to put out a crazy list of rules regarding their games being played in a tournament setting. Are there more than 200 entrants? More than $5,000 in prizes? Are you selling food and drinks to the people there? Well, then Johnny Nintendo's gonna go all Wizards of the Coast and have the Pinkerton shut down your local. They keep making decisions, more and more that'll lose trust in their ability to keep games older than the current generation listed and playable. So when you think about Mario 35 disappearing, it's not far-fetched to think that F-Zero 99 is gonna be out of the door by summer next year. The most monkey paw curls this side of F-Zero GX.
Monkey paws. Oh man, but damn, that sucks. You can't play Mario 35 anymore. It's weird that it's only 35 instead of 100, but I guess they can't handle 100 Marios. But yeah, so man, I really want to play that game, and to hear that it's not even like listed anymore sucks.
But as for games that have been delisted, now that both the Wii U and 3DS stores are formally offline, I think we gotta take a brief look at the delisted exclusives of yonder. I hope y'all like shovelware! Cake Ninja 3, definitely not Fruit Ninja. Stoneshire, never seen this before. All joking aside, the Wii U did have a few notable casualties. Affordable Space Adventures is a neat little gem that used the Wii U gamepad in an interesting manner. There's Pokemon Rumble U, which isn't as good as its predecessor, but if you want to run around a small arena bashing cute little monsters with friends, there are worse things to play. Dr. Luigi is exactly what it looks and sounds like, and well, that's about it really. Unless you count Lost Reverse, which was shut down way before. I never played this one, but according to the reviews and audience reception, it doesn't look like I missed out on much. When it comes to the Wii U, the #1 casualty has to be Miiverse. Just the amount of inane things I read on that thing over the years. The classic why can't Metroid crawl, and the absurdly good art you'd see rolling around in Splatoon. And besides that, there's, you know, the fact that if you want to play Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD, you need a console and a copy or you're shit out of luck. Same story if you're in the mood to play The Legend of Zelda
Wait. What?
or Twilight Princess HD, you need a console and a copy or
Console or
you're shit out of luck. Same
I mean, isn't it basically remastered on the Switch? Unless he's just talking about those versions on the Wii U, then I guess.
story if you're in the mood to play The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Anniversary Edition on your 3DS. This thing disappearing is a crime. 4 Swords is one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time. You take the classic 2D Zelda formula, split Link into 4 different Links, and embark on a quest filled with shenanigans. Friends holding you back, pick them up and go, throw them into a pit. Triforce Heroes kinda tried to do this, but it was never gonna match the original. This then got a beefed up sequel in the GameCube, 4 Swords Adventure, and then a port of the original came out on the 3DS as part of the 25th anniversary celebration in 2011. They released it for free, so I understand taking it down, but they also decided not to resell it. It was briefly brought back for like 3 days in 2014, but Nintendo is just bleeding money, not selling stuff like this. I know multiplayer Zelda isn't for everyone, but this is the type of game I'll whip out at a party without hesitation, especially the GameCube version. Hopefully, Nintendo changes their mission statement and decides to make their older stuff more available going forward, although they don't seem to have an issue shutting down stores and removing games at a whim. Please, give me the thing to buy, Nintendo, I beg you!
Nintendo is obviously not the first to shut down an online-only game. I mean, MMORPGs have been disappearing since the beginning of time. However, now that these things are having a larger presence on consoles, we're seeing more and more disappear. It's pretty crazy. So this one goes out to all of the recently shut down and delisted, starting with Evolve.
Poor Evolve never stood a chance. Once heralded as the next big thing from the developers of Left 4 Dead, Evolve was an asymmetrical competitive
God, that was such a good logo and monster design. I really wish the game would have succeeded.
multiplayer shooter. One team played as a squad of dudes, the other as a big monster who would evolve over the course of a match. It feels bizarre to talk about Evolve in the past tense, but as of 3 months ago, the last bit of life the game had was completely sucked out, and that was that.
As of July 6, 2023, we brought Evolve servers completely down for the final time. The game is no longer playable. Both multiplayer and peer-to-peer matches are now unavailable. Damn, you can't even play... Well, I mean, they say peer-to-peer, so it means, can you have a private match? Question mark? I don't know. The support and enthusiasm for the Evolve community over the last several months is much appreciated, but the time has come to dedicate our resources elsewhere. So I guess they basically dedicated all their resources to Back 4 Blood. Fucking blows, I swear.
Evolve wasn't a bad game, it was just 2K'd. By that, I mean it launched with a ridiculous amount of cosmetic DLC and season passes that had the monsters that you'd want to play as. On top of that, it was multiplayer only, which was uncommon in the mid-2010s for a physical console title, especially at $60. If you want more content, you spend more money. Let's go. Weirdly enough, this level of spending is minuscule compared to what's expected these days from free-to-play games. These things now launch with hundreds of premium boosters, skins, and characters on top of season passes. The idea of a $20 premium skin in Evolve is outrageous, but is unfortunately the norm with something like Overwatch. Anyways, delisted everywhere in 2018, matchmaking server.
Hold on. Delisted, removed from sale. In-game purchases disabled. Servers shut down. Dedicated. Peer-to-peer matchmaking. Servers shut down all.
Servers tossed out in 2022, and a mere 3 months ago, peer-to-peer was given the axe, so a physical copy of Evolve is now best used as a coaster. Video games as an art. Peer-to-peer was given the axe, so a physical copy
Man, that sucks to hear.
of Evolve is now best used as a coaster. Video games as an art form, defeated. Evolve lasted several years though, and was a thing that you could buy at the stores. So what about something that was free to play? Now the only way to make money is to pump out microtransactions while balancing a dedicated player base, something only like 4 or 5 games are able to successfully do at a time. As we enter the complete shutdown era of video games, we're gonna be seeing a lot more of these going, as every publisher was taking a shot in the dark. Knockout City, probably most famous for the ad that they ran with the Princess Peach lookalike, was a free-to-play dodgeball game, one that I actually had a decent amount of time playing too. Look, it's hard to go wrong smacking people in the face with giant balls. I played it for like a solid weekend, and considering there's like a million games I want to play, stopped there. That was enough for me. But
Yeah, that's the thing I hate with live services, that all of them want you to play. It's like the only way that this is viable if all the games, like at the very least of a minimum, needed like 100 players, then like every game can have a little bit of an audience. But at this point, it's like they need, like, I don't know, a couple of hundreds of thousands of players, maybe like tens of thousands. I would say probably like middling tens of thousands of at least, and let's just say 10 to 20,000 players to show that there's interest in a game. And so with that, most games can't get up to that, and then they shut down, which really sucks because there's some games I enjoy and maybe want to revisit at some point.
not for EA, who shut it down in June of 2023. This is sadly a pattern. Spellbreak, a free-to-play wizardry spellcasting battle
This game was so good, I swear. It sucks what happened to it.
royale game, one I actually played for several weeks with a friend. It lasted 2.5 years. Limnisgate, a turn-based and loop-centric first-person shooter. Way too galaxy-brained for me, and was around for a year and a half before getting the axe. A cool concept for sure, and I'm sure you can also see these timelines getting faster. How about Rumble Versus, the cartoony wrestling-themed battle royale? By all means, it was a really well-made and fun game. I dare even say it was one of the most enjoyable battle royales that ever hit the market. You made your goofy-looking dude, grabbed power-ups, and participated in some rumbling, which of course means pile-driving people off of skyscrapers. That'll never get old, or so I thought, because this thing disappeared on me after a mere 6 months. Faster than Spellbreak, faster than Babylon's Fall entire lifespan. Thankfully, not as fast as the Culling 2, but it's an outright shame to see all of this work disappear. Lastly, there's one more verse to explore, the multiverses, which is technically a lot. Allegedly returning in 2024, the story of this one's bonkers. Multiverses is the Warner Brothers answer to Super Smash Bros., and it was pretty popular too. It had this amalgamation of different Warner characters, from Bugs Bunny to Harley Quinn to Arya Stark and the Iron Giant. It was also a wild success, with them touting over 20 million players in the first month. Turns out being a Smash clone with recognizable characters will get people to hit the button. I actually liked the 2v2 approach to the concept, as you could make some wacky team combinations. The characters all felt unique, and while I wasn't the biggest fan of the game, it seemed like a lot of people were. At first. It's weird, because this game launched with microtransactions. It had
Yeah, it's because the slow bit of content, it's like it was getting characters like every few months. Wow, it's like for live service games, they need to keep adding like every week or at least couple of weeks. And so months is not going to do it for this game.
seasons with new characters like Gizmo and Black Adam, and then suddenly, Player First Games announced that they'd be taking the thing off of store shelves to relaunch eventually. It was apparently the open beta, and we'll be back another day. I find this hard to believe, although the player counts for Multiverses had tanked, with the original highs on Steam of 150,000 plus all the way down to 600 to 700 in the last week. Apparently, we'll be seeing Multiverses again one day, although I think players will remember seeing something they spent money on disappear a mere 7 months after it supposedly came out. Technically, you can still play this if you have it downloaded in the local lobby tutorial mode, so you can boot up Parsec and let it rip. I hope one day we find out why it needed to go away for an entire year, but more importantly, I hope they get freaky with the Warner Brothers properties. Give me 90 Day Fiancé Neck Guy and Punchline versus Gumball's mom and Kenny Omega. Straight up Crisis on Infinite Earths, but with Guy Fieri.
While we're here, we might as well talk about a few of the games and services that are about to hit the sack. It's sad, I know.
The most high-profile thing to disappear recently was Marvel.
Yeah, luckily I grabbed this before. I grabbed the Xbox version and I grabbed the PC version. But I'm really sad that I didn't grab a PlayStation version. Maybe I think he's DLC. Fuck. So it means I probably am never gonna get him. Maybe if there is a definitive version for like the physical version, I can probably get Spider-Man from that. But yeah, I swear, if Spider-Man is lost media, something you can't really get, that sucks.
The Avengers, although Crystal Dynamics has said they're going to keep the servers online for the foreseeable future. We'll see. We've already talked about that one to death, and speaking of death, soon we'll be saying goodbye to Friday the 13th, the game I now think of immediately when I hear California Girls. This asymmetrical multiplayer horror title has been having legal issues with licensing for a hot minute, and it's finally being delisted 3 years after its servers were shut down.
3 years after the server shut down, damn. I'm pretty sure I have this on, I think, Epic. If not, I do have a physical copy on Xbox, so we'll see. The servers have been shut down. So does that mean you can only play private matches or peer-to-peer?
It's wild how you can go from being a big successful Kickstarter to launch in several years before getting pulled down by the series creator for licensing issues. Developer Ilphonic didn't miss a beat though and has continued to make asymmetrical multiplayer games based on other movie licenses. Their next stop is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. A little less prestigious. As I mentioned earlier, Gundam Evolution is about to hit the bricks as well. I actually had some hope for this one, mostly because I've been a dirty UC Gundam fanboy longer than some of y'all have been alive. That initial reveal was hilarious because the idea of a Twitch shooter featuring mobile suits was not something we'd seen before, and I think the total package ended up being alright. Just with, you know, some questionable time sinks. The grind for new suits was long. It had loot boxes in the form of supply pods, which is an outdated mechanic these days. Most of the things you get are minuscule too, like banner icons. Although the colony drop profile picture will never not be simultaneously awful and funny. Gundam Evolution.
That is actually funny. I don't know the lore of Gundam, but I mean, if it's
Although the colony drop profile picture will never not be
a colony, so I would imagine there's people living on that, or at least from the looks of it, it looks like a city is in the bottom and something is dropping on it, so that's a lot of dead.
Simultaneously awful and funny. Gundam Evolution could have been more mainstream if it wasn't a bit too little too late. It was throwing itself into the niche hero shooter genre of the Overwatch variety, which doesn't have much space for others. Basically the same thing that happened to Lawbreakers and countless others before it. RIP. It definitely doesn't help that they went and region locked it too, so the place where Gundam's largest fan base is, Japan, can't play with Westerners. That's right, region locking in 2023. Besides just this, Bamco does seem really into the games as a service shtick. They put out Dragon Ball Da Breakers, their Dead by Daylight clone, as well as My Hero Ultra Rumble, a free-to-play battle royale. I can't imagine this lasting any longer than Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier. The list of free-to-plays goes on and on, so why not give ourselves a moment to shout out the old-school Xbox 360 marketplace. From the Wiper Blades to the NXE, the Xbox 360 store was a place where a lot of fantastic indies were born. Thankfully, Microsoft has done a decent job with backwards compatibility, but with this shutdown, there's a few digital-only exclusives that are going to be delisted and gone forever. Not that you'd have an easy time finding them browsing the console, since, let's be real, navigating this is the worst. A majority of these are going to be Kinect releases or things that were made by now defunct companies. Also, the Xbox Avatar version of Fire Pro Wrestling, which wasn't good anyways. The biggest stars here are Crimson Alliance, a top-down dungeon crawler, those two silly South Park games, Racketeer, Connect Party, and Diabolical Pitch. None of these outstanding, but still gonna be missing nonetheless. I do like me some Racketeer though. It's like pain, but my body's the controller.
Racketeer. I do have a Connect, so I could possibly grab that if I really want to.
I think the best part about the Xbox 360 marketplace was its prices and insistence on demos for everything. Sure, a lot of it sucked, but discovering new games like Castle Crashers, Bastion, and Limbo during their Summer of Arcade event was a highlight of being a kid.
Yeah, that was the best thing about like the Xbox Live arcade, or at least store in general, that mostly everything had a demo associated with it. So it means you could play at least one stage or sometimes time limited bits of games. So I would always play every new release with a demo and be like, damn, or just be watching the trailers.
Well, there's not too many exclusives or games that you won't see in other stores that are still available. Once July 2024 rolls around, that'll be it.
July 2024. Okay, so I still have at least a couple months.
So the PlayStation 3 store doesn't follow suit. Losing those PlayStation 1 and 2 classics is gonna hurt. Normal people can't afford the Misadventures of Tron Bonne.
Hold on.
PlayStation 1 and 2 classics is gonna hurt. Normal people can't afford the Misadventures of Tron.
Jesus Christ. $5.99 and goes all the way up to $500 for a complete version. $249.
Bonne.
All right, one last game for the day, and I think we ought to end this with something a bit more high profile. Once nominated for Best Fighting Game of the Year and now totally taken offline with all of its DLC is Jump Force.
Jump Force doesn't look like anything else. That's been the subject of controversy since the day it was announced, as the Unreal Engine 4 looking ass style was, not great. The Jump sub-series of video games only gets a release every generation or so, with most of them being pretty lackluster. Except the DS titles, those things rule. Jump Force was Bandai Namco and developer Spike Chunsoft's attempt at taking a ton of beloved anime franchises and shoving them into the end-all 3D arena fighter, and honestly, it's not terrible, it's just not good either. Their concept was simple. You make yourself a little Jump OC, go hang out with Goku, Luffy, Naruto, and a vast amount of characters over 50 years of Shonen Jump and save the world from the Venoms. They're basically like symbiotes. It's totally original here. I think a lot of fans, myself included, were interested to see the interactions between different characters. I mean, they decided to put Light Yagami, Yusuke Urameshi, Dio Brando, and Yugi in the same game. But what we got was a bunch of weirdly animated poses where no one is opening their mouths and just a whole lot of people standing around and just looking at each other. Jump Force. The story is this underwhelming, mediocre thing, but I mean, no one's sitting here expecting it to be good either. Although I, like anyone else, love laughing at stuff like this. What really matters...
I forgot if this game is even translated or if it's just subtitles, but that's ridiculous. Also, is that the main villain of it? I'm pretty sure the main villain is kind of a Piccolo / Hit looking guy, and so I do not know if this is a OC created or if this is actually the main villain, but it looks horrible.
Is the combat, the character customization. Can I match together a bunch of clothes and hairstyles stolen from famous cartoon characters and truly be part of the Jump Force? Sure. Just remember, every combat close-up of your guy will have them literally saying and doing nothing. Jump Force is Uncanny Valley. The fighting game itself isn't anything special, and all of the console releases have a plethora of performance issues, even on the PS5 and Series X. It's hard to see with hit sparks flying everywhere, and in trying to look fancy with all these CyberConnect 2 style cutscenes, it ends up sacrificing the gameplay. Speaking of, it feels like Bamco just tried to get another studio to make games of that caliber, but it's just aggressively mid, and the reviews of the time reflect that. How it ended up with 2 full season passes is beyond me, especially when the online networking is actual garbage. You want to do a special attack?
Garbage.
Hold up, we gotta think. Anyways, good old Jump Force here got delisted 3 years after release in 2022, with a lot of the online support ending. You can still matchmake with randoms and fight online, but if you didn't grab that DLC, well, too bad. Though props
Damn.
the developers for changing a few trophies with that update, so the platinum is still attainable. Dear all game developers, please do this. Bandai Namco, if y'all end up making another one of these, I'm gonna need you to make the Damon Devil Bats from iShield 21 as a playable unit. No more joke characters like that dude from Black Clover. If we can have Yu-Gi-Oh! And their
No more joke characters like that guy from Black Clover.
card games, I need me some American football.
Look, I just went to Japan and I saw a bunch of iShield stuff, and I accidentally might have picked up every single video game that the series has. So maybe I'll talk about imports one of these days. Anywho, that was yet another video of delisted video games that you can't buy or play anymore. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jump Force is taken offline sometime in the next few years. That just seems to be the way things are these days, and that kind of sucks. But let us never forget that Afro Samurai 2 existed. We must preserve history. Let me know if there's a game I missed down below in the comments, and maybe I'll get to another day, although I imagine Give me like 3 years, there'll be a whole slew of things to pick from. If you liked the video, make sure to check out today's
He is not gonna need 3 years. In a year, there will be more games for him to talk about. But yeah, interesting video that really shows how terrible the current landscape of video games is, with a lot of live service games or just a lot of license and other games. For whatever reason, you can never get any more and have to preserve it by buying or, figuring out some way to keep the games. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed more delisted video games you can't play anymore by Austin Eruption, please make sure to give him a like, watch the video for yourself, and even subscribe to him, because he has a lot of content like this, and it's all very well made quality content. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed my reaction to the video, please make sure to follow me on all my social medias, like my Twitter, my Twitch, my YouTube, my DLab, my TikTok, my Kick, Rumble, Odyssey, and Dailymotion. Make sure to check out my second YouTube channel and like and comment on all my videos, and even join my Discord. There you can stay up to date with everything I choose to do, whether my streams, videos, or anything else. But yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.